Hello, it's Brenda. Thank you so much for watching my last video. And I know that I am supposed to be growing a channel and I never post, but I'm actually in the middle of buying a house, so things have been a little bit crazy and I'm going to try to get on a schedule. But today we're going to talk about the Smurl family haunting. This took place in 1974, but unlike Amityville that went on 28 days, this went on for like a decade. The family moved in after a flood had caused them to have to leave their home. And this family was made up of Janet and Jack Smurl. And they had four daughters, although I believe they had two when they moved in, and then she gave birth to the twins after they moved in. Not 100% about that, but in total, there ends up four daughters. There's also the in-laws. There's her husband, Jack's mom and dad. So they move into this duplex, mom and dad on one side and the family on the other side. And they start to describe some weird happenings that started after they started to remodel. This was kind of like a fixer-upper. And it starts with kind of strange little things that maybe you could write off as your imagination or some other kind of oddity. The the mother-in-law, so she's on the other side of the duplex, she starts to talk about hearing a bunch of cussing and just like really foul language that would be completely unlike Janet to use. But she believes so much that this is Janet because it's in Janet's voice that she actually gets angry at Janet and calls her out on it. You know, this was a very strict Catholic family and this was just unacceptable. So Janet's like, I don't know what you're talking about. But around the same time, Janet is thinking constantly that she's hearing the mother-in-law calling her because she's hearing her voice. Now, as the two women are kind of simultaneously seeing shadows, hearing voices, all of these kinds of things, both men are hearing and seeing nothing. So when the women approach them with what's going on, they're just like, yeah, they think it's maybe just in their imagination, maybe you should get out more. They don't believe it. And the children are now starting to hear things and to see things. Now, the funny thing about this is it's kind of strange because some of the things, like, they see this big black shadow coming across the room. Okay, you really can't deny that as paranormal. But then there were some other things that, and I mean no disrespect, but, at one point on the night of one of the little girls' first communion, the ceiling fan falls from the ceiling, nearly missing the children who are sitting there. And this is like, if this is it, this is when she runs to the priest. She wants something done about this. But when I read that, I'm like, you know, I had like the same thing happen. Literally, a ceiling fan that didn't seem to be falling or detaching at all, just like plummeted to the dining room table, literally nearly missing my entire family of children who were playing Monopoly. And I didn't consider it paranormal. I was just like, okay, the ceiling fan fell out. So I'm not sure why that was like a huge like red flag for her, like that this was like, it's trying to kill me now. So maybe there was more to that night that I'm not understanding, because this really set her over the edge. So she calls on the priest. He comes into the house. They ended up with journalists in their house. Ed and Lorraine Warren were in there. The Catholic priest was in there. Actually, two separate priests on two separate occasions. And I do want to say that according to the church, they did send priests out there. Matter of fact, one priest stayed for like 2 days and nothing happened. So the church wrote it off as there's no haunting. And that's a little unfair because if I'm a demon, I'm probably going to make the family look nuts by doing absolutely nothing when the priest is there. So I don't know. Does that mean that it wasn't haunted, or just that the demon was playing games with the situation? I'm not really sure. Ed and Lorraine Warren, they did say that they found it to be haunted, and by 4 entities in particular, and one being very nasty and kind of ringing the others into this scheme against the family to make them move out or to make them miserable or whatever. Finally, the men have at some point started to have things happened to them, including Janet's husband says that he was actually sexually assaulted by a entity that looked like a beautiful young woman from the neck down and was like an old hag, scary person in the face. So that's terrifying. And Janet, I think, also said that at some point that she had some inappropriate things happen to her. So I have looked at some of what I could find for the daughters, who of course now are all grown, and I did find some recent stuff on them where they stand by it. They say that in fact this really did happen, and I could be wrong, but I want to say it's either Shannon or Karen. One of them is actually very verbal, very proactive about talking about it and saying that. Not sure which one though, but I do remember that one of them is actually does talk about it publicly, where some of them don't really talk about it very much. But she insists that this did happen. It all happened. The community got really involved, and there's been mixed feelings in the community. Although it sounds like the community was pretty supportive at the time that it was happening. Some have come out and said that they don't believe it happened. The family that moved in after, because the family moved out in 1987, the people that moved in after said that nothing happened to them, but we've talked about that before. That doesn't mean, you know, that it wasn't haunted, because there was an exorcism that happened. And actually, when the family moved, they say it followed them, and they ended up having to have another exorcism to where they moved after that. And I think finally at that point, they were free and clear. But one neighbor says that when the family was on vacation or gone camping just to kind of get out of the atmosphere for a little bit, that she heard screaming, like lights flickering on and off, and the family wasn't even there. So that's an independent party saying that that's what she witnessed. So who knows? I don't know. But tell me what you think. Do you think that it was an overactive imagination of the family? Do you think that this really happened? Again, the church claims that it didn't, but they are notorious for saying that nothing happened or that they weren't even involved when families come forward and say, absolutely, the church was there, or even did exorcisms, and the church will often want to distance itself from the story. So I don't know, take that for what you will. As far as Ed and Lorraine Warren, they did find it to be haunted, and I love Ed and Lorraine Warren, and, you know, God rest their souls. They passed Lorraine quite recently, but they had a little bit of a reputation for finding a haunting everywhere they went. So take that for what it is. But, you know, all these years later, you know, the family still stands by it, and they were only kids at the time. So they could very easily say, I don't remember, or no, it didn't happen, you know, but my parents said it did. You know, they adamantly still stand by it, or at least the ones that are being public about it to this day. So that's it. It's the Smurl family, if you want to look it up. The new family that moved in has said nothing has happened. It's in West Pittson, Pennsylvania. So check it out. Do your research. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I don't know on this one. I never want to doubt somebody's story, because if it happened to them, then that's awful. I would love to maybe talk to one of them. Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should try to reach out and see if I can talk to one of them. I don't know. I'm mixed on this one. I'm really mixed on this one. Maybe it was the stupid fan. Like, how stupid is that? But I think it was the fan, because I was like, if this is like the catalyst of it, that's not like a wow factor for me. Now, if the dad was like raped by a succubus, is that how you say it? Then yeah, okay, that would be pretty credible evidence if it happened. I don't know. I'm mixed on this one. So I would love to talk to the family. I don't want to say that I doubt somebody because that's just awful if it really did happen to them. But there is a movie on this actually, and it's super old from like the 70. No, I guess it would have to be in the 80s because they didn't even move out until 87. But the movie actually looked even much older than that, the quality of the movie. But it's just called The Haunting. And I really liked it. I liked the movie because I didn't feel like it was super like over dramatic like a lot of Hollywood movies are when they're based on true stories of hauntings. So check that out. It's just called The Haunting. It's old. The quality of it's not too great, but it's based on the story and it doesn't seem to be overplayed. So I liked it. I liked it. So let me know what you think, and let me know what story you want. And I might actually just try to reach out to some of the people involved in this and see what they have to say, or if they'll talk to me about it at all. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.